So the B group for the DRS62s, they've got some living up to do, haven't they? Because if that was anything to go by, we want to try and maintain that high quality, high caliber, high drama of action here at the DRS series. So the second of the DRS heats here, DRS62 heats, just on the grid at the moment. Just making their way out onto the circuit. So remember, all of these DRS62 drivers will take part in one of two heats and then one of two pre-Grand Prix, and then the best of them all will make their way into the main Grand Prix final. As we look down now to the starting grid for DRS62 Heat B, Daniel Sabula, courtesy of his 51.362 second lap time, starts on pole position alongside Sherry-Ann Powell, Max Horler and Finley Watson on row 2, then Freddie Cox and Archie Pitts-Drake, Harry Bartle and Jamie Scott on row 4. Sabula 5th in the championship, looking to add as many points and clamber himself up ahead of the likes of Hassan, Gurney, Watson and ultimately Archie Herring, the championship leader. Ollie Moorish starts inside of row 5 alongside Aaron Mensah, and then Eddie Stewart and Daniel Ware, and Ewan Scott is the 13th and final driver of this Heat B for the DRS62s. They're on their second of 2 formation laps. As they all stream through, and they'll come under the pace of Daniel Sabula. He has the responsibility of bringing them into some sort of order. They'll come under the watchful eye of the clerk of the course and the officials, who are just giving them a little wave, telling them exactly what sort of pace they want them to be at when they come through Raymond's. And they are all, just about all lined up. We've just got one coming towards the back of the field. It's a rolling start, remember, so they've got to maintain a decent pace. It's fairly well spread out, but they are going to go first time. It looks to me as if Sherry-Ann Powell's got the best of the starts. Has she? No, she hasn't, because Sabula does manage to find a way through, and Sherry-Ann Powell's lost another place, I think, to Finley Watson as well, down towards Surtees for the first time then. And it is Daniel Sabula, the rookie driver, the drivers with the black number plates there, rookie drivers, new to the series this year. Certainly no less capable than the yellow-plated established drivers in this field. So Watson then up into second. So Finley Watson, second in the championship, second on the road to Sabula. Will he have a look as Sabula already goes on the defensive as they stream down towards Raymond's for the first time? Sabula crosses start-finish to complete lap 1. Watson is in second place. Sherry-Ann Powell drops from second to third on that first lap. Then Archie Pitts-Drake and the number 9 of Jamie Scott is in 5th. And then Max Horler is 6th, and Aaron Mensah is 7th, and Harry Bartle is in 8th place. And not an awful lot to separate any of them at the moment as the leaders come through. Chandler's, the flick right-hander, and here is the 10-year-old from Hampton, Daniel Sabula, who leads. He's under some sort of pressure at the moment, though, from Finley Watson, as Watson gets a decent run out of the Del chicane. Will he look down the inside? He doesn't, and just keep an eye on Sherry-Ann Powell as well, because Powell has just edged onto the back of Finley Watson, and it is a 3-car battle now for the lead of this race. A little bit further back then to Archie Pitts-Drake as we look at the 11-year-old Finley Watson, the bright luminous yellow and black colours. They're through the Surtees left and they swing through the right. Sherry-Ann Powell in third place. We've got an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old at the front of this field. These drivers show great maturity for their age. They show great ability, skill, racecraft. Certainly doing a fabulous job out there. And this now is the opportunity, is it, for Finley Watson? He tucks himself right underneath the back bumper of Daniel Sabula. He doesn't find a way through, but there is a way through for the 105 of Max Horler. And indeed, oh, there's contact, and an incident there as we go over the start-finish line. There's going to be a red flag. It's the 105 of Max Horler. It's a pretty nasty-looking accident. It is indeed, but there will be people on hand to help and support Max Horler very quickly indeed. Certainly caught the rumble strip and then caught the tyres at the left-hander. And certainly a nasty incident there, which we don't like to see. Certainly a racing incident as well. But a little bit of contact, caught the inside tyre. At that point, Horler was up into 5th place in a battle with Archie Pitts-Drake and the 9 of Jamie Scott. So Sabula, Watson and Powell were the front 3. They will arrive under the red flags, which mean the race has been stopped. So they will arrive down towards the last corner at Raymond's. They will be parked there and they will stop the engines. They'll be re-gridded, so there'll be a restart, you would imagine. But at this point, obviously the attention turns to ensuring that Max Horler is well. So the drivers now will have a bit of an anxious wait. You tend to find with certainly the younger drivers, the drivers all know each other. They all have a social interaction as well. They spend time with each other outside of the cut and thrust of the race itself. You generally see them playing, the young people, they play sport, they get on the scooters and the bikes in the evenings. So all these young drivers know each other very well, and they will all have some concern just to make sure that Max Horler is okay. The drivers will be re-gridded, so the drivers, as you're seeing on your screen there, they'll be put into some sort of formation. We'd had 3 laps, so we'd had, you know, a few laps, and the officials will make a decision whether we start the time from when it stopped, whether we go for a full restart and a full regrid, or whether we call it a result as it is. So we've got lots of options for the officials in these situations. So fantastic to see as well that, and I can report, and I'm delighted to report that Max Horler is up on his feet after what was a particularly nasty crash, it has to be said, but he's up on his feet. He's walking now over start finish. You can see on your screen there, young Max will go and get the support that he needs. He'll be in that, he'll get a full check over by the medical team here at Llandow and DRS series, but that's an excellent result really an excellent result really to what was a really nasty incident really. It was absolute racing incident. I don't think there can be any blame apportioned to anybody there. It was one of those things where he caught the rumble strip in a battle with a couple of other drivers. He caught the curb and then caught one of the recticel barriers where you can see the officials are just repairing at the moment. So we're going to get a replay. It'll give you an indication of, you know, really how bad it could have been. You can see him on the inside there. He just catches, there's just a little bit of contact between the two of them. He catches the barrier and then it takes him over. It's a really nasty looking incident, and as I say, we are absolutely delighted to see that he got up and walked away from that incident, and we think there's no, well, certainly the indications of him walking back towards the ambulance, whether there are no lasting injuries. We'll get an update on that when we can. If we can, we'll try and get out and speak to Max later on as well and see what he thought of the incident. What I would say, and I can tell you from experience, because I've been there as a cadet driver quite a long time ago, it has to be said, but I've been there, and what I would say is that there is very little fear in these young drivers. They are very driven, very resilient, and I'm sure that we will see Max Horler back in the field before too long. But right now, he's receiving the attention of the medics and just making sure that he's fully. I've just seen Mr. Cox, who's just come to see us up here in the tower. But yeah, he'll receive the attention that he needs and just make sure he's fit and healthy. And just in a few moments' time, we're back with the remainder of the DRS62 Heat B. So the action is back underway. Delighted to report that initial indications is that Max Horler is generally okay. certainly got up and walked away from what looked to be a really nasty incident. Really unfortunate incident. Racing incident, really. But certainly looked to walk back towards the medical team. He'll have every check possible, as the fantastic medical staff here will ensure that he's fit and healthy to return as and when. What it means for us is we have to restart this Heat B. It looks like a single file restart to me, which is a standard way of restarting after a red flag. So they'll go through and start the time from where we left off, so at the point in which the red flag came out and stopped the race. We will restart this race with Daniel Sabula in the lead. They'll go through the two cones, and then they can break formation and become under race conditions, and they are through the hook for the first time. And it's Daniel Sabula then, back under pressure from Finley Watson, as he was when the race was red flagged. Sherry-Ann Powell, and then Archie Pitts-Drake, who now gets to go a free run really at these three, because he was some distance behind when he was involved in that battle with Jamie Scott and Harry Bartle and Max Horler in the first race. And here comes the move for the lead then, on the way through the Dell chicane. It's a very brave move from Finley Watson. He got a good run, and then he cut across the front of Sabula and just made sure there was no opportunity for Sabula to attack him on the way through the chicane. And it means that Finley Watson is the new race leader with 5 minutes to go in this race. So an awful long way still remains. Sabula tries to re-attack through the hook, and they go through the left apex and head down towards the left-hander at Surtees. Here is the battle for the lead then. Four of them in close proximity at the moment. Watson, Sabula, Powell and Pitts-Drake. They go through the right-hander, and here is the new race leader, the 11-year-old Finley Watson, second in the championship at the moment, and looking to close that gap on Archie Heron. And Heron didn't have the best of first heats in Heat A either. Here Sabula gets a good run then through the Dell chicane, and he's come up alongside Finley Watson, and he will retake the lead now. Can he do what Ella Stevens did to Aiden Hassan and duck back down the inside? He can't on this occasion, and Sabula makes it stick as they go through the left-hander then and into the hook chicane. Right there then is Finley Watson. Will he have a look through the Stewart S's? Keep an eye on Sherry-Ann Powell as well, because right tucked up behind Finley Watson, just stalking the two of them, just ready in case they come to blows, and she's there to pick up any pieces that these two might leave behind. So Sabula, Watson, Sherry-Ann Powell, then Pitts-Drake, Jamie Scott rather, isn't far behind either in 5th place. Then it's the number 120 of Daniel Weir, then Oliver Moorish, and then the 92 of Ewan Scott in 8th place. Harry Bartley is 9th, and then the 111 of Eddie Stewart is in the top 10. And there's battles all the way down this field, including this one that involves Freddie Cox, 9th place. Bartle is just behind him. Then Eddie Stewart and Aaron Mensah's a bit further back. And then obviously Max Horler is a retirement following that incident earlier on. Here is then the battle back out front, and it's still Daniel Sabula who leads over start finish. They are about to come. They've just got to get through Raymond's, this right-hander. They come down over start finish. Start finish actually on an angle. It comes over on a left-handed kink into start finish, and they all swing to the left anyway to take the best possible line into the Dell chicane. Into the left-hander at Stewart's come the leaders, and if anything now, Sherry-Ann Powell is the one that's just pushing Finley Watson, and Sabula's managed to put a couple of good corners together and give himself a little bit of a gap between himself and Finley Watson in 2nd place. Can Sherry-Ann Powell push Watson? Just she have a look down the inside, thought about it, as they went into the Del chicane, and then they head out towards the long back straight towards Raymond's. Will she have a look down the inside? Here comes Sherry-Ann Powell down the inside. Not quite got the steam to get alongside Finley Watson. Not quite got the straight line power to get alongside second place driver. We've completed 8 laps. We've got 50 seconds, just under a minute, plus that one final lap to go. So, into the right-hander, then down towards the Lancaster curve where they are now. Into the right-hander at Chandler's, up then the back straight, up the climb towards the Del chicane. Again, Sherry-Ann Powell just has a little look at Watson. Now, Sherry-Ann Powell might think she needs to make this move fairly quickly, because if she doesn't, Sabula may be too far ahead for her to make a last gasp attempt to get back on terms with him and potentially challenge to win this race in the closing stages. They're going to have 2 laps left this time because the timing is up, but they did break the timing beam before they managed to get through for another lap. So there'll be this lap plus one final chance for the likes of Sherry-Ann Powell. And now it looks as if Sabula's just about done enough. He's got over half a second advantage now. So in the space of a lap and a half or a lap and a quarter, I would imagine they will not have the power, they will not have the pace, Watson and Powell. And Sabula's timed this absolutely perfectly to get on terms. Now Powell gets a good run out of the Del chicane. She comes side by side. Does she? No, she doesn't. Just hasn't got the top end power, the straight line speed to find a way to get alongside Finley Watson. Even though she gets good drive off the final corner, they're into the hook once more. And really, it's a battle between second and third, because Sabula out front has got over half a second now. 7/10 advantage over these two. So just keep an eye on this battle for second and third. Sabula looks like he's just about done enough. Will Sherry-Ann Powell have a look into Chandler's? Don't think she's close enough. And it's cut off anyway, the inside line by Finley Watson. It may come down to a last corner dive from Sherry-Ann Powell. Does she get a good enough run? No, I don't think she has got a good enough run out of the chicane. She'll try and get a toe. Will she have a dive into the last corner? No, not close enough. And Sherry-Ann Powell holds line astern. It's going to be Daniel Sabula then who wins the second heat, Heat B, for the DRS62s. Finley Watson holds off the advantage of Sherry-Ann Powell. Archie Pitts-Drake is 4th, Jamie Scott is 5th, Daniel Weir is 6th, and Freddie Cox is just pipped to 7th place by Harry Bartle and Oliver Morrish and Eddie Stewart and Ewan Scott. So our first two DRS62 cadet heats are complete. We now move on to 2 DRS 100 heats. So again, the grid is split between the field. They make sure that all the drivers are able to participate in one of the 2 heats. Again, grid position dictated by success in qualifying earlier on this morning. 8 minutes plus a lap. And the first of those DRS 100 heats, I would imagine, will be straight on circuit. Just because we lost some time due to the red flag, they will undoubtedly make some of that time up when they go through the schedule. We're going to be running just around 10 minutes behind time, and that's why the DRS 100s are quickly